Hello, and welcome to this National MS Education and Awareness Month conference hosted by MS Focus, the Multiple Sclerosis Foundation, and made possible with support from Biogen, Genentech, Novartis, EMD Serono, Sanofi, and Bristol Myers Squibb. I'm your host, Deborah Foreman, the Educational Programs Coordinator for MS Focus, and I'm joined by Tyler Campbell, who is here tonight to share his inspirational message. After he's finished, we'll open it up to all of your questions and comments. Now I'm delighted to introduce our speaker. Tyler Campbell is an inspirational speaker and Amazon selling author. His life is his message, and he utilizes his gift to speak along with his purpose to serve as a means of inspiring others. Tyler and his wife, Shayna, reside in Austin, Texas, and are the proud parents of 3 beautiful children. We're pleased to have him join us today to share his message. Tyler, thank you so much for being with us. And I'm going to turn it over to you to talk more about yourself.
Hey, thank you so very much, Deborah. See, that wasn't that bad. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute honor and an amazing privilege to be here before you all. Absolute joy. Deborah and I have been working. Casey has been working so incredibly hard, put this thing together. And so the goal for tonight or this evening, very simple, is to walk out of this event a lot better than the way that we walked in. All right. And hopefully something will be said to manifest in your heart and dwell deeply within your soul that allows you to take your life and the lives of those around you to a whole nother level. All right. And so I wanted y'all to pay close attention to what Deborah was saying. If you were listening to her within the intro, I am an inspirational speaker. That's what I like to classify myself as. Not a motivational speaker. And I know some of y'all are saying, oh, Tyler, what is the difference? What are you talking about? The reason I classify myself as an inspirational speaker is because, see, motivation, it has highs and it has lows, right? You can be motivated as a patient with MS to go to physical therapy one day, or you may not be as motivated to go the next day, or just a person living your life. There are things that you have highs and lows, and there's an emotional roller coaster of waves that you're feeling to get motivated to carry out a task or to do a certain thing. Motivation requires an outside influence to get you there, right? When you're down and you're needing to go to another level, you're trying to get yourself up to go do something, you'll seek out motivation maybe from a video, right? Maybe you'll scroll through social media and you'll hear one of those inspirational messages, or you'll see something you like on social media. You see somebody doing something, you'll be motivated. Or maybe you have to seek the encouragement of a mentor or a family member or a friend to help you out, to get your emotional self-esteem to a higher level, to accomplish what you got to accomplish. Motivation requires outside influence to get you to a destination, right? But inspiration, my brothers and my sisters, inspiration is totally different. You see, inspiration comes from within. That means you already have a dwelling within your heart that is manifested in your soul. That is what keeps you on the constant with going and going, because you know who you are. And see, that's special. When you know who you are and you understand your heart, when you are inspired, that means you're somebody who has a vision with a mission. And that is incredibly special. If you always look at people like a Beyonce or a Tom Brady, or these people who are the elite at what they do, they're not at the status of motivation. They're far beyond that. They are inspired. They know what they're supposed to be doing with their lives, and therefore they keep doing it and they never get tired of it. Motivation comes from within. And I mean, inspiration comes from within. And that's what I am hoping to equip you guys with. Not so much that you're seeking out Tyler. It's just the fact that Tyler may say something that helps you turn that thing around, and you look back over your life and you understand who you are. You understand what inspires you. You understand the things that keep you lifted. And those are the things that keep you pressing, because motivation runs out. But when you are an inspired individual, and when you understand what you are capable of, those things transcend. And that is what keeps you really and truly going. All right. So it's special. All that I asked today, I was telling Deborah this earlier and I was joking. She asked me if I wanted to use slides. And I was like, I'm not really going to use slides, because what I have is straight from the heart. And what I promise you all with our time together is vulnerability and transparency. It's just me being me, and my words coming from my heart are what I'm giving to you. And so I promise to roll slow. I promise I'll have the enthusiasm, and I will definitely give you time to write the principles down. And the reason why I'm asking you to take notes or to write these principles down that I'm going to give you tonight is because I don't believe knowledge is power. No, 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 no. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. And the only way that you can apply the knowledge that I'm going to bestow upon you tonight or this evening is if you take the time to write these principles down so you can keep them with you long after our time together is completely over with. All right. So again, applied knowledge is power. So take the time out to get a pencil, a pen, a piece of paper, maybe a handy dandy notepad on your phone. Write what you feel so you can reference them back, and you can further have the wisdom, insight to be inspired to carry out what it is that I'm encouraging you all to carry out. All right. So let my energy and passion today, ladies and gentlemen, be your energy and passion. All right. And I require a little bit of audience participation. All right. So I know the chat function is open. When I say it on the count of three, I want everybody to participate and type TC Speak in the chat. All right. Type TC Speak in the chat. 1, 2, 3. Type those TC Speaks in the chats and let those things rip. I appreciate you. I see you, Mary, Vicky. I see you, Susan, Sonia, Lisa. Love you all and respect you all. Listen, let's go, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So we can grow. All right. The title of my message today, write this thing down. It's time to mind your own mind. Okay. It's time to mind your own mind. That is the title of what we're going to roll through today. All right. Principle number one of it's time to mind your own mind is you don't know how strong you are. Watch this. You don't know how strong you are as a man or a woman. You don't know how strong you are until you are dealt a situation or a circumstance that causes you to be made weak. All right. That's long. All right. Deborah, Casey, if y'all want to help them out, type that in the chat. You can, but I'm going to say it again. All right. Here we go. You don't know how strong you are as a man or a woman on this earth. You don't know how strong you are until you are dealt a situation or a circumstance that causes you to be made weak. All right, that's principle number one. You don't know how strong you are until you're dealt a situation or circumstance that causes you to be made weak. I want you to picture yourselves in a doctor's office, a neurologist to be specific, and you're sitting there on the patient table facing the entryway door, and you're waiting for the neurologist to come in and help you to have a diagnosis. You're in this situation largely because you're experiencing paralysis down the right side of your body. You cannot feel your arms and your legs, something I know so many can relate to. You have a neck jerking twitch that causes people to stare at you out the sides of their face whenever they see you coming down the hall, because they're staring at you trying to figure out what exactly is going on with this person and why can't he control the neck jerking twitch that he has. You develop slurred speech, which means that every time you try to open up your mouth, it feels like your tongue is stuck to the roof of your mouth and you can't get any words out. And last but not least, your equilibrium is totally shot, which means that every time you try to crawl to your feet or to stand upright on your own, you fall helplessly to the floor like that of an infant child who's learning how to try to walk for the very, very first time. This is my life. And this is what I was feeling at San Diego State University when I was 21 years old, while attending this campus on a full ride football scholarship. I had just finished playing against BYU, last football game of the season, my junior year. And I went to sleep that night absolutely normal until I woke up the following morning at about 4 o'clock in the morning to use the restroom. And instead of rising to my feet when I got out of bed, I fell flat on my face, just like that. After going to see the trainers, they put me through a host of equilibrium tests and I failed them all tremendously. They didn't know what exactly to do with me. They thought at first I had a concussion, and I told them this is not a concussion. I remember everything. They formed an appointment for me to go to Scripps La Jolla Memorial Hospital in La Jolla, California. And they told me, we don't know what this is, but you've got to go see a neurologist to figure this thing out. That's what landed me on that patient table when I first opened up and introduced myself to you. The doctor gave me a spinal tap and put me through a host of MRIs. I spent the whole day at the doctor's office, and my MRI was done off site. By the end of the day, I had a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. It did not take long at all, which we all know happened very rapidly. It was a unique situation because the neurologist had figured out by me coming into the door that this was probably multiple sclerosis related. And she asked me, she said, "Where's your friends and where are your family?" I said, "Ma'am, I'm here all alone. I'm from Texas. I have no friends. I have no family that are present with me right now." And she told me, "You better call your mother because the diagnosis I'm about to give you is very serious." And it's in this moment that I figure out that what I have is going to be life-changing. It's going to be life-altering. I call my mother and I say, "Mama, I'm at the neurologist's office and I have to give you the phone over to her because she's saying that I have something that's very serious that she needs for us all to be on one accord with." My mom's a former LVN, a former registered nurse. So she actually had heard of the multiple sclerosis diagnosis that I was going to be given. When the nurse told her about MS, my mother asked to speak back with me, and she said to me, "Tyler, listen to what she is telling you because your life is getting ready to change. But as a mother and your father, we're going to be here to support you. We'll talk to you more about this thing when you get back home to your apartment." The doctor tells me I have multiple sclerosis. I didn't even know how to say it correctly. As a Black male, I've been cultured to know what sickle cell anemia is and high blood pressure and high cholesterol and what cancer are. Those are the things that I've always known all my life. So this multiple thing, whatever thing you're telling me, it doesn't fit in my checklist of diseases that I'm supposed to be aware of as a young male in this country. The only question I had for the doctor was, can I still play football? The reason being is because I promised my mother that I would get a degree from San Diego State University, and she agreed to that. And she told me when she shipped me off for college that you can't come back unless you have your degree. So I was like, "Ma'am, can I just continue to play football? Because if they take my scholarship, I'm not going to be able to get my business degree, and then I can't go live back in Texas where I want to live." So she said, "You know what? I've never seen a patient like you before, Tyler." I also understood what that meant. I understood that that meant that she had never seen a Black male at this time in 2007. And she also had never seen somebody who was as fit or a football player. I'm about 6 foot, 230 pounds at this particular time in my life. And so she didn't really have a measuring tool to go off of. So what she replied back to me and said was, "Yes, you can still play football as long as you don't have any relapses with this disease." And you have to understand, I'm 21 years old. All I want to do is get my education. I signed a letter of commitment to San Diego State University. I didn't want that to be taken away from me. So all I wanted was something very simple. So I figured that I would be her guinea pig. She learned something new about me, and I would prove something that could be done in the multiple sclerosis community. And so with her blessing, I actually became the first person to play Division I college football with multiple sclerosis. I think in that moment, I didn't understand what I had. It wasn't until going back to my apartment and hitting the Google button. And when I Googled multiple sclerosis, I didn't see faces that looked like mine. And that's when I really became scared because the faces I saw were Caucasian, most of them women. And I figured, why in the world do I have that if I hit the Dr. Google and I don't see anybody who looks like me? By the way, don't hit Dr. Google. All right. Go to the source, use organizations like we have right now. Don't do what I did. Rule number one, if you're newly diagnosed. I found that out the hard way. But what I found out was that the one person that I knew who was a Black male who had the disease was Montel Williams. I'm a child of the 80s. I grew up through the 90s. And so I knew Montel Williams from daytime talk show. He was somewhere in between Jerry Springer and Ricky Lake. Like, I remember that era. And I saw that he had MS. And when I saw that he had MS, it made me feel a little bit more comfortable. But I also said to myself, I'm never going to allow somebody else who is a Black male who gets newly diagnosed with this disease to not be able to find my story so that they cannot feel as fearful as I felt when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. That was kind of my mindset in my early 20s. And that's what led to my level of patient advocacy, knowing that it was my job to play a role, to use my story as a message to create a greater level of awareness, an awareness that I wasn't privy to when I was 21 years old. So I just never wanted to be somebody who found someone or who would have somebody be in the same position I was. I would never want that. So when people Google and they look me up and they see the first one to play Division I college football, it wasn't for me. It wasn't something to boast about or be proud about. It was just something of wanting to be someone who could kick the door open so that other MS patients could walk through, so that it could be proven that it could be done. And it's not football that paved the way. No, 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 no. It was this disease that showed me how incredibly strong I am, that we are, to be able to deal with paralysis, optic neuritis, being in a wheelchair, which I've been, having things like erectile dysfunction and being able to still stand upright. MS patients and families who are affected by MS, we are strong people. And you don't understand the level of strength you possess because we're in this mode of living life with MS, that sometimes we can't step outside of ourselves and see how incredibly beautiful, how incredibly handsome, and how incredibly amazing we truly are as individuals with multiple sclerosis. And so that's why it is my job to relate to you. As bad as those days are, and as tough as those nights are in your life living with multiple sclerosis, listen, I've been there. I understand exactly where you're coming from. Also understand that you are an amazing, dynamic superhero. And you are something that the world has never, ever seen before. And you don't fully understand it because you're walking in it, but I'm here to tell you, this weakness that MS has put in place over your body, your mind, your heart, your soul, and your spirit, on a physical standpoint, maybe, but on the inside with your soul and with your being, you are incredibly strong. You are incredibly remarkable. You are incredibly amazing. And that's why you don't know how strong you are until you are put through situations and circumstances that cause you to be made weak. The reason being is because not everybody can walk through the shoes that we walk through each and every day. And so you are a hero. And I don't want anybody to get off of this call without first and foremost knowing that and understanding and believing in that. You are special. And when you go through that walk of looking back over your life, that's what also helps you to understand how incredibly strong you are. Is each and every one of us look back over our lives, we can honestly sit back here and say that some of us have gone through some things before MS came knocking on our door. And quite frankly, we don't know how we got through it. And some of us shouldn't have gotten through it, but we did. You know, had you been in this predicament, in this situation, quote unquote, maybe a few days earlier or a few hours earlier, for some people, they could have been in a car accident and wouldn't be here on this earth before, right? It could have been making a decision to go this way, but instead you chose to go that way. And that granted you the opportunity to get the job you always wanted. All right. There are individuals who have been through some tough circumstances in your life, in your childhood, in your adolescence, that people don't even know about you, but yet you live through it and you walk through it and you're here today. That gives you the evidence to know that you are incredibly strong and an amazing, empowered individual. So please look over your life. Don't just look at the MS portion, but look back over your life and in your past and look at those things that you made it through that people don't even know about. That's how incredibly strong you are. You see, as you're looking back over your life, it also brings me to the next perspective of taking care of that brain health, taking care of your overall mental health as a person, because that is essential with you living with multiple sclerosis. You see, taking care of your mind is also that thing that helps you alleviate the stress that life can bring upon us as individuals. One of the greatest things that helped me break through with my multiple sclerosis is I come through from a community in the Black community. There's always this saying, what goes on in this house stays in this house. And at times there's not that much of a room to tap into your heart and really get things out of your system to let people know how you're feeling, right? And so it's deemed as a weakness whenever you talk about the things that are bothering you. And I want people to know and understand that there is no shame. In fact, it is an incredible amount of strength. You're an even more amazing superhero if you do take the time to admit that, hey, I'd like to go see somebody. I'd like to check in on my overall mental health. I'd like to check in on a counselor to walk through and talk through with the problems that I have been going through as a man or a woman on this earth. Have no shame in those things whatsoever. Those are the things that actually ended up setting me free as a human being, living with multiple sclerosis, going through the therapy process, and being able to lift the weights of things that took place in my adolescence that I never let people know about. Y'all, it is hard enough. It is hard enough to fight MS. But let's help ourselves by taking care of the excess baggage that we bring along with our lives, given the things that we have not addressed in our past, that are weighing us down even further as a patient living with multiple sclerosis. We are able to break generational curses by doing those things. Those are also things that help you come through and handle your disease. People look at me and they always wonder why you're so upbeat and why you do this and why you do that. All I'm trying to do, y'all, today is give you a window seat to understand why I approach things that way. And a lot of it has to do with I've had to have help to do so. I've had to have help. I am not some superhuman. I have a needing to get things out of my system so that I can better handle multiple sclerosis. And I want you all to not feel shamed about those things either. All right. Our privacy keeps us from achieving our destiny. Write that down. Your privacy keeps you from achieving your destiny. We can fool people on the exterior about how we feel, how we're doing, because we don't want to seem like a burden. Check. Listen, multiple sclerosis sucks. Can I say that? I think a lot of people deem me as a MS ambassador. They read those things, but it's like Tyler also thinks multiple sclerosis sucks. And you know what? It's okay to say those things. You know what I'm saying? And to know that you have that space to be able to do those things. You are qualified to do those things, to say those things. It is not fun. This is tough. This is hard, but you don't have to suppress those things and keep those things internal and feel like you have to have this facade and always have to have a smiling face and always have to do this and always have to do that. As a patient living with MS, you do not have to do that. It's okay to hurt. You have a rite of passage to be in pain. The only thing that I ask is that you never lose hope with what it is that you're going through. Because some of us have a support system, some of us don't. But the main thing that you want to cling to is hope. I look at my culture specifically. It's funny. I walked in the house today. I have 3 children. I have an 8-year-old son. I walked in the house today. My son thinks Dr. Martin Luther King is the greatest thing in the world. And it makes me so proud. He came in from the bus ride today. His name is Messiah. And he knows how to get on the iPad. He turns on Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech at the White House. And he does his Kumon homework with it. And I said to myself, see, that's it. I come from a culture where we never lost sight of hope. And hope is free, y'all. Hope is powerful. It never weighs out. It never dies. It's a strong thing and it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So with all the woes of MS, with walking through not knowing how strong you are until you are dealt situations and circumstances that cause you to be weak, with taking care of all your mental health and monitoring your heart and letting your emotions spill out, with all those things, I want to encourage you to never lose sight of hope. If you talk to anybody who's ever gone through things, and if I look at the civil rights movement of my people and my culture, the one thing that we always had was hope. The hope that things would get better. And I'm encouraging everybody to just cling to hope that where you are is not where you will always be. The hope that maybe life will send you that somebody who understands your perspective and can identify with your pain. The hope that you will be equipped with a neurologist that takes his or her time with you to understand where you're coming from. The hope that you will find yourself in a situation where you can get the resources that you need to get stuff out that keeps weighing and suppressing you down. Cling to hope. And the reason being is because hope creates room for determination. Right? When you see people who are hopeful, when you see people who have gone through things, they say that they are hopeful. They're hoping that things get better. And if you're hopeful, that means you're determined. If hope creates room for determination, determination is what leads to a positive attitude. So hope creates room for determination. Determination leads to a positive attitude. Watch this. With a positive attitude, my brothers and my sisters, there's no limit to your altitude as a human being. I'm going to say that again. This is all coming from strength and not knowing how strong you are until you are dealt a situation or a circumstance that causes you to be made weak. All right. Hope creates room for determination. You are a determined individual if you have hope. With determination, that also leads to a positive attitude, right? And with a positive attitude, my brothers and my sisters, there is no limit to your altitude. As a patient, as a family member, as a friend of someone living with multiple sclerosis or battling multiple sclerosis. I live with erectile dysfunction. I battled this disease ever since I was 21 years old. And all I've ever had was not some secret remedy. I've always just clung to the hope that I would one day find somebody who loves me for me. That hopefully one day I could become a father. Hopefully one day my Dallas Cowboys will win a Super Bowl. I'm clinging to hope, but no, just all jokes aside, I've just clung to hope. Not a secret remedy, just the hope that tomorrow's day with MS may be a little bit better than yesterday's day with MS. Doctors told me it would be tough to, find somebody who would accept me for me. It's hard being 21 years old and you're already having these conversations. You're not thinking about marriage, but, everybody's preparing you that, this could be a tough road with MS. And I've been married to my wife for 10 years now. We have 3 children, Cheyenne, Sage, and Messiah. And I'm still somebody who's living with multiple sclerosis. I do not share that to brag. I share that because I just want you all to know that all I clung to was hope. Hope. And it's free to you as if it was free to me. And all I ask is that you don't lose sight of the hope, right? So that's principle number 1. Number 2, all right, your gift and your purpose. Write that down. It's time to mind your own mind, your gift and your purpose. All right. This is essential because this is what keeps you, you. This is what keeps you whole. And everybody has one. Everybody has a gift and everybody has a purpose, MS or not. You are a special person. You were put here to accomplish some great things. You were put here to leave this world better than the way that you found them. Your gift is that thing, and this is according to the Tyler Campbell standard version of the dictionary. Understand, I make up my own definitions, guys, because I wasn't the most smart person in the world. And sometimes it just did well with me as a kid. I used to just make up my own definitions because at least it helped me understand a word better. I used to be like, why didn't Webster just say this? Just say this, Webster. The dictionary is too confusing. Your gift is that thing that you can do with relentless passion, energy, drive, and consistency, even when nobody pays you a dime or puts money in your pocket to do it. All right. Your gift is that thing that you can do with consistency, even if nobody pats you on the back or tells you a good job for doing it. That's your gift. For some, it's reading. For some, it's writing. For some, it's speaking. For some, it's walking. For some, it's jumping. For some, it's driving. We have gifts. For some, it's just the ability to love people past what they can imagine. It's a gift. For some, it's the ability to sacrifice for other people. You have a gift. And when you do this thing, it makes you feel so good. When you've done that, y'all, that is your gift. Your purpose is the divine calling from the man up above that is put on your heart. All right. Your purpose is that thing that is placed on your heart that you do. That is your purpose. Whatever that is, that's your purpose. All right. My gift, I discovered it when I was in college by accident. I waited till my senior year in college to take freshman speech, guys. You speaking to you in front of a camera, that's not what I was gonna do with my life. I thought it was like football, not speaking. I'm an introverted extrovert. That's what I classify myself as. When I was going through college and growing up, I stayed to myself. I didn't like really speaking to people. I just like doing what I was supposed to do, being a good friend, staying out of trouble, and boom, go back to my home and I read comic books and read J.R. Tolkien novels and C.S. Lewis books. I was very much the nerd who just so happened to play football. Okay, very introverted. I waited till my senior year to take freshman speech. And when I walked into the speech class, I took Africana Studies. I took Africana Studies, y'all, because I wanted to speak around maybe people who look like me, thinking that would make me feel more comfortable. I walked into the class of Africana Studies at San Diego State and nobody looked like me. Absolutely nobody looked like me. I said, oh my gosh, this is the biggest setup. This is Africana Studies. This is going to be like the worst experience ever. I tried to be comfortable and this is not going to be comfortable. Our first speech was 15 minutes long. And when I got on stage, I had all these note cards in my hand. And for whatever reason, I felt at peace the moment I started speaking. And this is me living with MS for 2 months. I'm in front of people and I'm speaking and I feel comfortable. There's no stuttering. I feel more comfortable than even playing the game of football. And so my gift was revealed to me. I enjoyed speaking more than I enjoyed playing this game that I loved all of my life. And what I want to tell people is sometimes you have to be able to have a new approach to the dreams that you have, because we all know what this is like, right? We've all done things with MS and things have been taken away from us, right? Yeah. You know what it's like to be doing this thing all of your life, or maybe for so long, maybe working a job for so long, and then MS has come and it's totally derailed you, and you've had to learn a new thing. You've had to figure out how to do how you're going to provide, what you're going to do, all these question marks. And I just want to tell people, be open to life. Sometimes you have to find a new approach to an old dream. All right. And that's what it did for me. I always wondered what it would be like to not play football nervous. I always played football nervous and scared. I always wondered what it would be like to be like one of the greats to play the game, how they're always so excited and jubilant for games. I was never like that. I was always tight and always tense. That's because football wasn't what I was supposed to be doing with my life. I thought it was, but I had to find a new approach. I always wanted to help other people, and I always wanted to, be a leader of other people. And I learned that I could do that by using my voice. I didn't have to carry a football. Sometimes you have to find a new approach to an old training with your gift and your purpose. You see, a lot of times we see people who operate in their gift, particularly famous people. Like, you ever seen a famous person who's like got all the money in the world, right? Got the cars, got the house, got the family, but then they always get in trouble. Like, you're always trying to figure out, like, why in the world is this person in trouble? Why do they do this? It's because they figured out their gift, but they didn't understand their purpose. If you don't understand your purpose, what the calling over your life is supposed to be, you'll be the most talented person in the room, but you'll always be unfulfilled. You'll have this amazing gift, but you'll be doing the gift and you'll wonder why it's not fulfilling to you. It's because you don't have a purpose. My gift is to speak. My purpose is to serve. I'm supposed to use my gift to help other people, not for Tyler to have his own platform. Tyler is supposed to use his words to help somebody else's life. And that gives me all the fulfillment in the world that no money or no dollar sign could ever put before. So you're the most gifted individual in the room. You have your gifts. Also figure out how you use your gift to lay down your purpose. And when you understand your gift and your purpose, that's the thing that keeps you at peace living with multiple sclerosis. Your gift and your purpose. But I also want to keep you all wary of this. Once you find your gift and your purpose, it's going to give you a greater sense of confidence in life, right? It's going to give you this understanding of who you are, MS or not. I know who I am. That's what you're going to start to say to yourself. You know who you are and what you're supposed to be doing with your time on this earth, and that's priceless. And then you're going to become a more confident individual living with multiple sclerosis. Even if your limbs are taken, even if your eyesight isn't right, even if your pain is there, simply because you know who you are, you're still going to possess some form of inner peace that people aren't going to understand how you have it. And they're going to say, oh my gosh, sometimes I feel like you're so arrogant. Understand those comments are not about you. It has more to do with that individual because they haven't discovered who they are. All right. You're going to be equipped with a greater sense of confidence, but other people may confuse it with arrogance. It's not arrogance. It is a true blessing when you understand who you are and what you are capable of and what you were placed on this earth to do. MS or not, you become confident, but understand that with that confidence, other people may view it as arrogance. But that's why it changes your walk with MS. It's the thing that keeps you going. It's the thing that keeps you inspired. It is your gift and it is your purpose, and it stays with you no matter what MS deals you. MS can take my body. It can take my mind. I suffer from cloudy brain all the time. But for whatever reason, when I get in front of a microphone, stuff starts to just flow. Oh my gosh. And I can't explain it, but it's because it's my gift and I walk in my purpose. And so even when MS takes my limbs, takes my body, I'm going to do this. And even if the words don't come out the right way, I'm still going to do it because it gives me peace. And I don't worry about what other people think because I love me for me. And that's all I want people to have is that inspirational nugget to keep within yourself. So you're gifting your purpose. All right. The last piece of it is rhythmic repetition. Rhythmic repetition. Rhythmic repetition. I know we might have some doctors in the building. We may have people who have a science background. There's an amazing statistic from the National Science Foundation. And it says that your human brain has an average amount a day of 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day. 12,000 to 60,000. That's the average, and that's done by the National Science Foundation. What's unique about that statistic, though, is that 80% of our thoughts are negative. So we don't think positive thoughts about ourselves. I don't care how good you are. The overwhelming majority of the thoughts that you have, they aren't positive thoughts. They're negative. So stay at the studies done on our human brain. But the amazing statistic that also gets overlooked is that 95% of our thoughts are negative. Okay. So here's the catch. This is what we do. This is how we utilize our brains and turn it into our superpower as MS patients. All you need to do is think about those times in your life or the things that take place on a daily basis that give you that euphoric feeling of happiness and joy. And you think about things. It could be something as simple as horseback riding when you were a child. Maybe the birth of your own child. Maybe when you got married, the compliment that somebody gave you, ladies, about the way that you were wearing your hair today. Or maybe you just remember the hug that your child gave you, or the hug that you gave somebody else and how that made you feel. Think about those handful of positive thoughts a day, 1, 2, 3. And all you have to do is put them on wash, rinse, and repeat. Put them somewhere where you can see them. Think about them. The brain is going to do the rest. It's not about having all these positive thoughts all the time. That's not what life is. That's not realistic. But since your brain is wired to repeat things 95% of the time, imagine if you have your core of 4 or 5 positive thoughts a day, your brain will naturally recur and think about those things on the constant. And that's what keeps you uplifted. That's what keeps you determined. That helps propel that hope that we were talking about, and that keeps you uplifted. And we all know that the more positive that you can be, the more uplifted that you can be, the more inspired that you can be, the better off it helps the disease that you live with. And that is a special thing. That's rhythmic repetition. So then all you have to do is control what you put into your ears. Ask yourself what type of music you listen to. Ask yourself what type of people do you communicate with on a regular basis. Are they keeping you lifted? Are they keeping you encouraged? Is the music you listen to, or the podcast you listen to, the TV you watch, is it keeping you encouraged? Or does it make you feel like you're less than, that you don't have this or that you need that? That's rhythmic repetition. And when you do those things, you change who you are at your core as a human being. So those are our principles. And I'm going to close with this. It's time to mind your own mind. You don't know how strong you are until you are put through situations and circumstances that cause you to be made weak. That's number one. Number two, do some soul searching and start being in tune with your gift and your purpose. Who are you? What do you love? What keeps you going? And are you giving yourself the opportunity to do those things each and every day, not for somebody else, but for you as an MS patient or a family member of somebody who has MS? What are you doing? Your gift and your purpose. And number three, rhythmic repetition. It's not about the positive thoughts that you feel like you have to have all day, positive, 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 positive. It's only those handfuls. And your brain will take care of the rest because it will naturally think about those things 95% of the time. And you control with what you allow. There may be some people you have to say, no, I can't hang with you no more. I can't do this with you anymore. It's hurting my health. It's hurting my overall structure. And you have to look out for you. And it's okay to be selfish. But if you don't remember anything I tell you today, I love this, y'all, because I'm very much a visual learner. Can you guys still hear me okay? You guys can still hear me? Okay, good. I want you all to focus your attention on being a bottle of water instead of a bottle of soda. If you don't listen to anything else I got to say today, all right, be a bottle of water instead of a bottle of soda. You're the bottle. The contents on the inside of this bottle represent your emotions, your feelings, and your reactions. When you shake up a bottle of water, a bottle of soda, think of it as somebody saying rude things about you. People not understanding what it is that you're feeling, and they ridicule you because you finally get stuff off of your chest. Because we can't control who we are and because we don't understand who we are, our emotions, they spill out all over the place. What I want you guys to do is be like a bottle of water with your life with MS. It doesn't matter how hard you shake up a bottle of water. It doesn't matter what anybody says to this bottle of water. It doesn't matter if anybody backslided this bottle of water. It doesn't matter if people lied to this bottle of water. This bottle of water is going to stay as calm, cool, and collected as you can imagine. Stop letting other people steal your joy. It's your life. It's your responsibility. It's real life and it's real talk. You control the narrative. Don't ever give away your power as a person living with MS, and encourage those who you love as individuals living with MS not to lose their power or their joy and let other people rob them of it. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, to mind our own mind. Thank you, guys. Be a bottle of water instead of a bottle of soda. Deborah, if they don't remember anything else, that's good enough for me.
Tyler, I'm never speechless. Casey can attest to this. I can talk always. You literally just made me speechless. That was incredible, number one. Number two, I will remember the bottle of water forever versus the bottle of soda. So I want to be that bottle of water. I want to be the water. Can you hear me?
I got you. Can you guys hear me? I heard
Yes.
you. I got you now.
You hear me? Good. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you for that. But we're going to go ahead and try to do some questions now if anybody has any. We are ready for questions. If you have a question or a comment, you can ask it using the Q&A button in the app, which also allows you to send your question anonymously if you choose. Or you can ask your question live by raising your hand. To do so, click the raise hand button or press the number 9, star 9 rather, if you are on the phone. I will call on you and then you can ask your question and I'll unmute you. All you have to do is do that and I will promise to unmute you so you can speak. So now let's see. CC.
I'm glad you guys are good with this technology stuff, Deborah, because I have no idea how you're going to even find questions
Tyler,
and stuff.
You literally got so many comments while you were speaking that it's unprecedented. I don't know that we've ever had so many comments, not questions, just comments. And I want you to be able to go at some point and look at those. Those people just loved what you were talking about.
I will. Thank you everyone for listening. But hey, my life is an open book, Deborah. So whatever they've given you, or whatever you guys want to ask, from erectile dysfunction as a man to all those things, relationships. I'm married. So I'm vulnerable. I'm transparent. I can tell you about pains, woes, whatever. So whatever you guys want to ask, go ahead.
We have some questions that did come in.
Okay.
Taylor asked, how did you navigate being young with MS?
Yeah, I think just being open and honest, those were very, very tough times. When I was young, I did not know how to open up with people. I hadn't yet gone through like a therapy process of knowing that it's okay to cry, that it's okay to feel alone. Being young with MS, you see everybody else and they're out living their best life. They're going to the beach and they're doing this in San Diego, California. They're going over here. And for me, I just wanted to lay down. It was tiring. So it was very, very tough. The thing that did set me free was speech class. It was that one thing that was mine, and it was very special. It helped hold me until I learned that the way that I was living my life with MS, about not really opening up or allowing other people to help me, or the ability to say that, hey, I'm very tired today, or I need help. Those things are what really made it tough. Not knowing that that's actually what you're supposed to do and that that's okay. I didn't think that people wanted to help me, but how could they help me if they didn't know what was ailing Tyler? I never even told my head coaches that I was diagnosed with MS. I never had a conversation with them. That's how, to me, I was. So I would encourage somebody who's young living with MS, because it's at a very tough time where everybody else is so active. Who is that person that you can speak to and open up to? Doesn't have to be the masses, but you just need a somebody. That's somebody who won't judge you when you are kicking and screaming, and today is just not one of those days, and they are not going to judge you for it. Who is that person? And if you don't have it in the circle, the good thing about COVID is right now is the best of time. than any time to go see somebody, because there's such great breaks in our insurance, or the lack of insurance right now. Everybody knows that the overall mental health of an individual is very important. We've all gone through so much. So now is actually the right time. If that's not the case, please find somebody.
Thank you. Vicky would like to know, how did you get to the bottle of water from the frustration of the bottle of soda? And she'd like tips on being calm with MS.
So for me, I learned the things that made me happy. I needed to do those things for myself every day, and sometimes more than once a day. Even if it was repetitive, even if people didn't understand it. I learned, for instance, that I love my comic books. I learned that the nerdy part of Tyler Campbell, he needed to breathe. And that nerdy part of Tyler Campbell is actually Tyler Campbell discovering himself when he was 12 years old. That's how long I had hidden that person from view. When I read my books and when I read my comics, and I can imagine this world of these fictional things, it makes me smile from grin to grin. When I think about the Incredible Hulk, I'm like, man, if I could be a superhero with multiple sclerosis, I would be the Incredible Hulk. I'd be indestructible. I'd walk around pain-free, bumping into things, and it doesn't hurt me. It hurts somebody else. Hey, I think we all know what it's like to not be able to walk, or to cut corners, and before you know it, you can't walk through an entryway door because you're leaning. So I tapped into my imaginary world, the world that people don't understand, but it makes Tyler happy. They don't have to understand. They can judge me. They can think you're the biggest nerd in the world. Reading comic books still, you're 35 years old. What? But I'm a big kid. That's what makes me happy. So I'm a bottle of water now, largely because I have my outlet of what makes me happy.
And Tyler, just so you know, my husband is 65 and plays video games. So you can do that in your 30s.
I got a good 30 more years left, Deborah. That's what you're saying.
You do. So
Yeah.
Jacqueline wants to know, how did you start your conversation with your wife when you both met? This is my greatest obstacle, that I am not good enough for anyone to really want to be with me.
I understand that. And also, Jacqueline, we've been, so fast forward though, so 10 years into marriage, we actually got into a skirmish yesterday in our bed. And yes, married people have disagreements. Tyler Campbell has disagreements with his wife still to this day. Anybody who's been married, you get it. We had a conversation yesterday because I went into a mode of where I felt like I was feeling this way, and I felt like she didn't understand, when all the while she did understand. But it was my own, like, personal battling myself that made me feel even more emotional, and didn't give her the credit. Like, this woman has always been there. What do you mean she doesn't understand what you're going through with MS? And so I say that to say it's always been there, and it doesn't go anywhere, because the mind is a powerful thing. How I got my wife to understand was that in the very beginning, when I was diagnosed, there were two people that I told. One was my roommate, and I had to tell him because he found me when I was laying on the floor. So he had to know. I made him swear to secrecy. The other person I told was my best friend, also, who's my wife now, in college, and her name was Shayna. So I was 21 years old. I told two people that I was living with MS, and she was one of those people. And I didn't tell her about the erectile dysfunction stuff. I just told her that there were lesions and holes on my brain. Please pray for me. And it was because we started being friends first for a long period of time. And I all of a sudden felt the need, before, while we were dating, to say, hey, I battle erectile dysfunction. And that was a couple of years later. And this, a family may not It may be possible, it may not be possible based off of the other complications that I'm experiencing below the belt. And I took a chance largely because I love that person so much. I love that person so much that I was willing to just bet on myself for a change and not willing to live my life wondering, what if I would have just told? So I got to the place where I didn't want to like live in regret. And I just felt like it was better to just say it. And if it didn't happen, at least I would never wonder um, if I didn't come clean about what I would have had, what could have been. And so that was it. I just got to a place where I wanted to take a chance on myself. And it's hard, but it's worth it, because then you find out if that person is really there for you or not. And if they're not, honey, that means there's somebody waiting on the other side that is for you. And that's what you got to hang your hat on.
Thank you. Thank you. Lisa wants to know, can you explain the difference between gift and purpose?
Yeah, I got you. Okay. So what I want to tell people is the purpose is the thing that speaks to your heart. All right. It is kind of like the duty, if you will, that you have to carry out with your gift. Your purpose is going to be something that helps somebody else. Like I was using an example of people who were getting in trouble. They get in trouble because they have an amazing gift, but they don't leverage the gift to help somebody else. All right. That's how you know, like when you are purpose driven, that means that you have found a gift and you're using it to help somebody. And the way you help them, though, your purpose shifts depending on what is comfortable for you, how you use your gift to help somebody. For everybody, that doesn't mean you have to speak or even be an advocate. That may not be it for you. The main thing is, if you're a writer and you have this amazing gift to write, or you have this amazing level of being able to draw, or if you have this amazing gift to, I don't even know, cook 20 pancakes at one particular time, whatever that, when you're doing it, when you take that thing and use it as a way to help other people, however that looks, that's when you found a purpose. It's bigger than you. It's a calling that's bigger than you. The gift, going backwards, the gift is that thing when you're doing it, oh my gosh, this thing makes you so happy. When you're doing it, you don't need somebody to tell you, hey, go do this. Make sure you're doing your gift. No, you just do it because it means so much to you. When I'm speaking, I could speak to nobody in the room. I could speak to one person in the room because when I know I'm doing it, oh, it just makes me so happy. It makes me so whole. It's not about money. It's not about dollar signs. It's not about nothing. It's about me just doing this. And that's how you know you found your gift, when you can do it and nobody ever tells you great job. When nobody ever pats you on the back when you're doing it and said, oh my gosh, that's so incredibly awesome. Keep doing that. You found your gift when you do it, and you do it just because this thing makes you whole, even if nobody ever notices it. And most importantly, even if it's never tied to any money or any dollar sign. When you're doing those things, I mean, when you found that thing that's not tied to a reward or somebody else noticing it, that's how you know you found a gift. For some people, you have multiple gifts. Some people, you just have that one. But whatever you have, you got to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Got to keep doing it.
We have an anonymous message, a question.
Yeah.
Said, or she or he said, are you in a wheelchair now?
So I am not. Have I been? Yes, I have. When I was hit with the second relapse, because I was diagnosed with a relapsing remitting. And when I was hit with the second relapse, I was preparing for the National Football League. And I had just finished working out with NFL scouts. And a week later, I had those same symptoms and flare-ups that mounted up. And they took the game away from me and put me in a wheelchair. I couldn't move. The right side of my body, I could not move. I dragged my foot. I had developed drop foot. When I got out of the hospital, my mother had to feed me. My mother had to bathe me. I was pretty much helpless. I laid in the bed for I don't know how long. I always joke with people because they say it never rains in Southern California. But when I was diagnosed, or when I was suffering through that second relapse that put me in the wheelchair, I was crying tears like never ending waterfalls in Southern California, living with MS. And I've been there. And then when I got stable enough to be able to ride on an airplane, I got moved back to Texas. Um, and I have found an amazing neurologist in Round Rock, Texas. And then I started doing physical therapy. And my father and I started doing physical therapy together. My dad supported me and he helped me. And through grueling physical therapy and just hope, I was able to go from walker over a long period of time to cane, and to wheelchair. And I've been there. I'm not there now, but again, you cling to hope that where you are is not where you will always be, not necessarily always physically, but also from a heart standpoint. So I've been there and I empathize.
Thank you. We have a question from Laura, who said her son is 17
Mhm.
and has MS. He'll
Wow.
be off to college this fall. What's your advice for someone so young with this condition, away from his family at college, experiencing life on his own for the first time?
My mom used to tell me, and she's a nurse, she used to tell me she would be so scared all the time. Um, there were times when you take night classes, and she used to tell me she was so scared of what if you have a relapse, what if something happens, you fall and it's nighttime. What do so as a parent, you're never gonna start worrying about your baby. And your baby has an autoimmune disease. And so I know there are gonna be a lot of sleepless nights. Um, but I also know that in that child's mind, they're probably very much looking forward to that opportunity to further their education, which is a very, very special thing. And to also know that what I didn't know is that there are an amazing amounts of resources at these institutions to help people that have MS. And so the first thing that I would tell my child to do is, even if they're feeling upright and good and they think that they've got it or maybe not, to go by student services and let them know that, that your child has MS, and that and you'll find out that there are so many resources to help them. I took all of my finals left-handed. I suffered because I didn't open up and I didn't know that my university had things that help people with disabilities. And I did it the hard way. So I would also encourage my child to know that even though they're away from home, there is a student services center that if you suffer a relapse, if you go through it, or if you're not feeling so great on one day, that there is a program that is in place at these institutions to help you academically and also to help you mentally, with what it is that you're going through. Because everybody knows that not everybody in a college setting can understand if your child says he's not feeling good, he or she's not feeling good. And it can be very lonely at times. And so that's why I encourage them to get involved with student services. I encourage them to find an organization that is on campus or around campus, that they can be involved with, so that they can still have that college experience and enjoy those types of activities. Those things are encouraged. Um, just don't let your child battle this disease in loneliness like I did. Please don't allow them to do that. It robs them of their college experiences, and they aren't able to see or enjoy the things that are out there and meet the people who can love them for who they are. That's the one thing that I regret. I became even more introverted, and I suffered through my last 2 years of college because I didn't open up to anybody or see what was out there to enjoy, you know. So there's opportunity for them, a lot to be excited, but I also empathize and understand. There are some worries that just, quite frankly, may not go away. But also find confidence in the way you raised your child, and know that you, as a parent, you did the best that you can. And all those years, those 17, 18 years, that child learned something, and they're going to put it into practice for you.
Good answer. Good answer. Tyler, I'm gonna go ahead and ask one more question. You have quite a few that are still unanswered,
I'm
but
sorry,
rather than
guys.
go on till 12 o'clock tonight, we're gonna stop. What I'm going to encourage everyone to do is the reminder email that all of you received in your inbox. Go ahead and return that to the sender, and you can put your question in that. And I'm sure, without even asking him,
Yeah.
that Tyler will be happy to answer those questions. If you were to write them, we'll make sure he gets them and we'll get you back the answer.
I was gonna say it before you did, Deb. I was gonna say it before you did. I said I stayed up. I was so bad. My wife got mad at me, Deborah. I stayed up till midnight. I stayed up past my bedtime because I was answering emails for MS patients, and I got in trouble. I got in trouble yesterday. Got in big trouble. But I
Okay.
care. And so if I don't answer them today, I promise I will answer them.
Okay. And we're not gonna
I
make
got
you
in
wait
trouble
till
there. I got in trouble. See, hey, I'm not human. I'm not a superhuman. I have flaws. Tyler has flaws. He has plenty of them.
Okay, so our last question is, do you follow any specific diet?
Yes. So for me, I read a book called Healing Multiple Sclerosis. I had heard this a lot about it's called a candida diet. And I try to stick to it as best as I can. It's very boring and it sucks. It's not fun. I've noticed that as I'm getting older with MS, my energy level is really one of the hardest things to keep up with. My fatigue level. Maybe it's because you have 3 kids. Maybe it's, life. I also know I'm not 21 with the disease. All right, so I've changed, and so I've had to cut out a lot of the things that I enjoy. Oh, I love those In-N-Out cheeseburgers, Deborah. They're amazing. Um, but no, there are some things that I had to let go of in diet in my life to try to help. I am not perfect. I have plenty of flaws. And when I see a milkshake, Deborah, I just go crazy and I can't keep it to myself. And so, but I try to stick to the Candida diet as best as I can, not because I want to, not because I enjoy it, not because I think dieting is amazing. Again, MS sucks. I think dieting sucks, Deborah. I'm sorry. It's not fun. But I noticed that when I do stick with my diet, it helps me be more energetic and less sluggish. And I need all the help that I can get with my MS. And that's coming from a personal standpoint, not conveying it to anybody else or recommending that, just being open and honest with people as far as what I end up doing, and I just try to exercise as best as I can. I don't lift weights. I do body weights, push-ups, and dips, and I don't lift weights, and I try to walk, and I try to jog when I can, how I can. And guess what, people? If I don't get to a certain level, if I mess up on my diet, or if I don't get as many reps, or if I don't jog as far, I've learned to just not care and not look down on myself, because I am human. But you know what? I'm trying. I'm trying. And it's good to try. So that's the other thing. Don't beat yourself up. We all have flaws. I know I do. I told you I love cheeseburgers, and I told you I love milkshakes. I have flaws. And so when I flaw, I just try to get back on and try again.
Wonderful. Thank you. So that brings us to the end of our time.
Oh.
We don't want you to get into trouble, Tyler.
Oh.
If you missed any part of this conference, it has been recorded and will be available through the MS Focus Facebook and YouTube channels. Reply to your registration email for information on how to access recordings, or sign up for our newsletter to learn about the upcoming events. Our next teleconference will be Tuesday, March 8th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Dr. Ben Thrower and Aaron Sieber will be having an interesting discussion regarding cannabis for MS.
Oh.
Our sincere thanks to Biogen, Genentech, Novartis, EMD Serono, Sanofi, and Bristol Myers Squibb for their generous support, and to all of our attendees for your participation. A very special thank you to our guest, Tyler Campbell, for sharing his wonderful message with us tonight. We'd greatly appreciate each of you filling out our post-event survey, which will be available as soon as you leave the meeting tonight. Your participation in this survey will help us greatly in creating meaningful programming for the MS community. Goodbye, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler.